Yo.
What's up?
Hey, everyone.
Wait a minute, Robert. You know what to do.
Right. I'm ready.
Mike, it's clear I'm going to need your help tonight, Mike.
I'm ready.
Now people will listen to us because we're wearing a hat because they seem to only listen to the brothers in the hats.
Mike, they're ganging up on me and I feel triggered.
He feels triggered. Oh God, that's literally too. He means that because he's probably pulled out his gun on the show before.
I just met Mike and I'm looking to Mike to protect me tonight.
I got you, Shawn.
I appreciate it. How's everybody doing, man?
Fantastic.
Great.
Awesome.
Doing good.
We got a lot to talk about. Oh shit, we got a lot to talk about, man. So I'm going to run through the introductions of the usual suspects, and I'm going to ask Mike and Dave to give me a 30-second snippet on your life, your love, and your legacy. But you know me, I am your humble host, Shawn Mason. 1 week, Glenn? About week 70, 71? I don't know, something like that.
More like week 60 or so.
More like week 60. I guess I'm hosting. I do apologize. Blame it on the bourbon. I am a professional photographer, a singer, a blogger, a soon-to-be author, claiming best-selling author. I'm a dude who does a little bit and knows a few things. Glenn Murray is our resident political mind, as well as the creator of the Wine Crawl. Glenn is a book-oriented guru. He's currently got a project out that I see the man cave behind you. That's dope. That he is not promoting for a change, but Faith, Failure, Success is his most recent outing. And so we're wishing him all the best when it comes to that. We have Robert Hazzard, who is the blank of blank, because now we have a fine established for we say Rob is the blank of blank because it's gotten out of control.
It's $1. I
want money. I want my money. Go ahead on.
Yeah. And because Dave Roberson is a regular on the show with us, I'm gonna save him for last. I'm gonna ask the newbie, Mike Olson, who I understand has two of the most handsome sons, I think, in the land. I'm gonna ask Mike to give me about a 30-second blurb on you, what you do, and how you came to the show, and go.
Thanks, Shawn. So Glenn is a doting uncle, and he does have two beautiful nephews. My name is Mike Olson. I am in Minneapolis, Minnesota, and I'm a husband, father of two, and I've worked 23 years at Wells Fargo. So I work in developing technology projects for the big bank, and I've been there a long time. So I'm really happy to be here and have a conversation with you guys. Thanks for having me.
We're honored and glad, man, that you would think enough of us to come hang out with us and chop it up with us for an hour, man. And I dug your energy, dug it from the minute I came in. So I'm already looking forward to the next time we have you on, Mike. Thank you so much, man, for being here.
My
Big
pleasure.
Dave, what can I say, man? Dave, you're almost a regular on the show, man. Always feels good to see your face, man, and get a chance to hear your perspective on some stuff. But for the people who have not seen you on the show before, give us a little bit about yourself. And I will tell the world that you're Mel's brother. That's how, that's your connection to the show. You're the better looking one.
And you're our favorite. You're our favorite. Got that contract for you, Dave, whenever you're ready to go on and take over.
You know Mel will pop in here in a minute, like,
That's what I was just thinking. He's going to pop in. Yeah.
Y'all know he's gonna be back with a vengeance, so don't get too beside yourself.
Might drop in tonight, Dave. You know how he does.
With his shirt off. Yeah, he probably will.
But Dave Roberson, man, about 2 episodes shy of getting my suit that y'all saw in the intro with all the guys looking all fancy. So I'm looking forward to that. I'm working my way up there. But always a pleasure to hang out with the guys, man. Chop it up on some topics, and I don't even want to take up that much time, man. Let's get into it.
Hey, man, I'm gonna put my tailor on speed dial.
Appreciate that.
Make sure you get cut. Hey, man, what do we want to get into first? We do have the pleasure of 2 seasoned married gentlemen on the show tonight. We have somebody who tried and didn't make it work a couple of times.
No, he didn't. Really?
But
You gotta call me out. You gotta call me out early.
Hey, I didn't say who. You so triggered. Like, remember when we were little and somebody say, "Hey, ugly," and they would teach you don't turn around because that would mean that you thought they were talking to you. I didn't call any names.
He could have been talking about me, Rob, the whole fake marriage to Janet, Sanaa, and Salma Hayek. I mean, that's three.
Glenn, you married to your work. We know you married to your work.
Yeah.
No, of course, I'm talking about Mike and Dave. And so one of the questions that we were talking about in the green room was, what did you learn about yourself after marriage that you didn't know prior to being married? And out of respect for his newness, I'm gonna give it to Mike first. And again, what did you learn about yourself after marriage that you didn't know before? And see, this is a little unfair because Dave gets to sit on this for a minute and kind of think it through. But Mike, talk to me.
Shawn, the probably the first thing that I learned is that I have a lot more imperfections than I originally realized. Several of those were pointed out for me. So
imagine that.
But I think seriously, you know, part of getting married is, you know, you're starting to live with another person. The co-location, you start to learn, like, I have habits that annoy her. She has habits that annoy me, and you start to sort of figure things out. And that's kind of when it first gets started. I think the couple of life events that Kia and I have had is, you know, first getting married, moving in together, then having children. And I think, like, the thing I've learned the most is just, like, when to choose your battles. You know, sometimes you're having a bad day and you'd love to just express that, but then you kind of look in your wife's eyes and say, you know, she's not ready to absorb this right now. She's been hanging out with the kids, or, you know, has challenges of her own. And so you kind of learn, you know, the other person in such a way that you can kind of read their thoughts, and you kind of know, you know, when is a good time to bring up something that's maybe not a happy topic, like, you know, just that sort of stuff. So, and then you learn a lot about yourself, just your ability to put yourself a little bit secondary to the things that are going on, either with your wife or your family. You know, I would describe my pre-married self as pretty selfish, not in a bad way, but just, you know, I did what I wanted. I went where I wanted. I hung out with who I wanted. You know, there's no limit, and there's a healthy amount of compromise that comes from being married. And so you kind of learn, and you push the edges. I'm not gonna lie. Like, sometimes there's stuff you want to do, and you're like, I'm gonna push those edges until, like, how much golf is enough? Or too much. So I'll pass the baton, but those are a few things that you know, top of mind.
Very, very well said, Mike. What I heard was you learn to not be selfish and to not say stuff to get your ass kicked, is what I heard.
A little bit, yes.
In short, and consolidating that. That's
Thank you.
This is how I don't get hit in the mouth, and it's not all about me.
And I'll end with, I'm not always successful. Like, these are things that I've talked about, like, that I aspire to, but I have had a shoe come right across the face. So it didn't land, but it was close. That's your sister, Glenn.
I know.
Dave, you had a little time to sit on it, man. What do you think? What did you learn about yourself after marriage that you didn't know before you were married?
Yeah, that's funny. Glenn said, "I know that shoe too," but yeah, no. I say first off, my ability to expand as an individual, and just, you know, when you're in relationships, you hold down the other person too, to a certain extent, but when you're married, it's just a deeper level of it. And, you know, like Mike mentioned, kind of putting the other person before you, but just, you know, the ways that you protect, the ways that you're thinking about every element of their life and making sure that they're okay. So just expanding as a man, it just kind of happens because you have someone to take care of. And, you know, the whole saying of not on my watch, you want to make sure that, you know, nothing happens to that person on your watch. So
you have somebody that you feel responsible for.
Yeah, absolutely.
For me, that is, while I'm not married, of course, that is the meat of that union for me, is that this is a person that you feel responsible for. You feel responsible for their well-being. You feel responsible for whether or not they eat, whether or not they get rest. Those small things that we take for granted, the things that Mike or Dave might do just so their wife can get 2 extra hours of sleep, out of respect for whatever, grind their day represents. And it's funny that we would open with that, because I've been in a really, really weird reflective space about that, kind of on the back nine, feeling like, okay, maybe that's something that won't ever happen for me. And then it makes me wonder what it would have been like, right, to have somebody that, come rain or shine, whether I was on top of the world or the world was on top of me, I knew had my back. And then the rub is, while I don't think I've ever been in a relationship, and this is no knock on any of my exes, while I don't think I've ever been in a relationship with a woman who had my back like that, I have been on the potential side of dating a woman that I thought in a relationship would have my back like that. Yeah. And so then it becomes a rub, like, okay, but that's not the only component in the relationship. And so while I think this person would have my back, they're still not someone, for whatever reason, that I'm going to choose for the long haul, which then makes the absence of that even more painful. Sure. It's like, I wonder what that would have been like if I had somebody that, no matter how my life was going or day was going, how many losses I had taken. I used to say about my older brother, who was a lawyer when he was in law school and he was going through, taking the bar and all that. I used to say, hey man, you're my horse if you never win a race. I don't care if you're 0-11, I'm still going to bet on you, And so it makes me wonder what life would be like to have somebody that was going to bet on me every time, because they rock with me like that. Glenn, you got anything on that you'd like to share? I know you have no marriage experience, but.
Well, in my mind, I've been married a couple of times, but I guess you just don't want to count those shots. I'm gonna pop
Janet in here. I'm gonna pop Janet in here and watch you run like a little girl.
Women don't scare me. Okay, let's start right there.
Yeah, you can say that now because there's none here. But
because it's the man cave. I can say that in the man cave. It's a safe space to say it.
Right.
No, I think it's really important to have somebody that has your back, and from day one when I met Mike, it was really evident that this is a person that loves my sister dearly. And, watching their family grow, watching the 2 boys and just watching them together and how they move, I really admire that, and desire it as well.
Yeah. Mike's also not blind, because I saw the picture and she's quite fine. So, I'll give you credit for your glasses or contacts working well there, Mike.
Good job, Mike.
All right, you can only look at my sister for 2 seconds. That's it. So let's move on.
You are not the boss of Rob, what do you think, man? Do you have? I mean, this is a weird thing to ask of you, but in your own way, you have very unique marriage experience, and so I'm not teasing you when I ask you for your insight, because in truth, I don't know. You may learn more about yourself in a failed marriage than you do, or in a marriage that didn't succeed. I'll choose that word. Than you do in a marriage that makes it. You may learn something about yourself that Dave and Mike might not. You know what I'm saying? Simply because you have, and I can see you think I'm fucking with you. I'm really not.
You see, I'm moving towards the
right. Mike, camera, I got you on speed dial, Mike. I'm gonna need you. You see how they doing me, right?
So I learned a lot from my failed marriages. Thank you very much, brother. But I also learned a lot. I didn't get the shoes thrown at me. I got a couple other things I got put out, but other than that, but I think that's
an hour-long show talking about being put out. Go ahead.
I know, right? I was on the park bench for a minute, but I think that there's and that wasn't a bad thing. Fortunately, I still have a savings account. But I think that ego plays a lot in all of this. I could have done some things better. and to make marriage work, because it does take two people, even if the other person isn't willing to do some work. So that's my 2 cents. I got Mike and Dave on the line with us tonight. So ladies and gentlemen, we are going to be deferring all marriage questions to these gentlemen. Take it away.
Hey, Glenn.
Robert,
Go ahead, Mike.
I'm going to blow your mind, Glenn. I was married before Kia.
Uh-oh.
I don't think you probably even know.
I think I knew that. Actually, I think I knew that.
I've had a failed marriage.
Well, Mike, I don't want to make the show about you, Mike, but of course that begs a very different question. And
so Mike,
since Robert wouldn't answer the question, I want to know, what did you learn about yourself from that failed marriage that you were able to take into the next marriage? Because I think a lot of times, man, we are so busy running from our past and our bad experiences in the past that we don't know how to focus on what's in front of us. And so anything that's reminiscent of what we've done that didn't work, we kind of freak out, and we pull the 911, and that's not always the case. But talk to me.
Correct. So Robert, you called it out, right? That it takes two. Yep. And the first go around was a younger person, married to a younger person, and we dated for a really long time, and we thought that marriage was the logical next step, right? It's the right next step when you've been dating for 7 years. Ooh. And once we got together, it was having that heart to heart about what do you actually want out of life. And my vision was this life of the white picket fence and the couple of kids and all of that stuff. And through teary eyes, the response that I got from my ex-wife was, I don't want that. Those are the hard conversations that you have in advance. And as a husband, I was trying to deal with that new information and say, well, okay, like we can make it through this. You're altering your path. And I have a lot of respect for her in that she knew that I wouldn't be fulfilled as a human being if that wasn't kind of the path in life that I had. And so, it came to a very unceremonious end, an end as friends to say, like, we're going to go on two different courses in life. And it opened the door to the one I have now, which is exactly the one I envisioned when I met Kia. So,
man, thank you, Mike, for sharing that. I know Shawn's got something to say, but that is.
But we don't want to hear it.
That is, yeah. So that's why I jumped in. I know they're going to try to mute me on this.
Exactly, Mike, we're going to make sure you have Robert's number because he needs a mentor. And we think you are the ideal person to mentor Robert because he's currently very fractured right now. Only so much we can do to help him.
Drink to that.
Yeah, we don't have the same experience you do,
Robert.
So, make sure after the show. Right.
Yeah, there you go. We're
both drinking wine. I mean, that's a foreshadowing.
Yeah. Oh my God! You know what? Robert's Lover of Life royalty just went up to $2 now.
And you got to put a quarter in the jar because you said it.
That's right.
So let's move on, guys. I'm a little jealous of Mike. He's already got some love on the thread. He got some fans on the thread already.
And he didn't even have to put on a hat. Wow.
He did, yeah. Yeah. I'm putting my hat and glasses back on.
I brought my Yankees hat, the symbol of excellence.
Oh wow! Really?
Yes, that's right.
Really?
So check it out, man. I saw this meme earlier in the week, and one thing about the memes that we see, man, it makes me think about. I was watching Mahershala Ali on Actors on Actors, and he was interviewing John David Washington, and somehow they started talking about social media, and Mahershala said that his problem with social media was that it gives everybody a microphone, but everyone doesn't understand the responsibility of having that microphone. And so, and I paraphrase it by saying, people that say dumb stuff, all they need is one or two people that agree with that dumb stuff, and then it starts to grow legs and feet or whatever. But the saying was, women are becoming masculine out of necessity, not out of a desire. So they're basically saying that men aren't being men, so women have to be men. I have a lot to say about it, but Glenn, you seem triggered. Like you look like Rob right now. You seem triggered, and so I'm gonna let you deal with it first and tell me what it sounds like to you. If you think there's merit, what do you think about it?
No, I don't think there's merit to it. I think how do I put this? I think that it's something that's just kind of been manufactured. I think there's more of a demasculation of men versus an emasculation of women. I think that's really what's going on. And it's interesting, the double standard when you talk to women. And I was looking at a dating show, like a marriage show or something, one of those shows, and they were interviewing these potential mates. And the woman was like, well, you know what? I'm independent. I make my own money. I got a good job. I can pay for everything I need. So I am set and I am just ready and I can take care of myself. And the guy was like, I'm looking for love. I want to be in love and I want to experience love. Now they're talking about putting those two together. And I can bet you $1 to a dime, she's going to look at him as some effeminate man because he wants love. And she talks about her independence. But if you flip the roles and if he was like, I drive a Beamer, I got a $500,000 home. I don't need anybody. I can pay for myself. He will be the biggest ass around because of that. So the roles have been reversed where women get to really talk about all those materialistic things that are taboo for us to talk about. And we have to talk about love and marriage and wanting to be in a relationship, but still get penalized for it. So, so I think it's just, women are becoming masculine because they want to be masculine, basically.
Yeah. Big Dave, you've been quiet, man, and I love to hear your thoughts. And I saw your brain. I saw the smoke coming out of your hair while they were talking about it, man. So I want to hear from you, man. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I feel like this is a much bigger topic than we probably have time for. I mean, you could factor in, just all of the different sexuality and the transgendering and everything else that comes into play in terms of people trying to figure out who they are nowadays and why that is. But just kind of getting to the core of some of what Glenn was talking about and what I think the question was about. I would probably agree with it to a certain extent. And just when you think about women, I think their nature is to be in a relationship and to build up something. So not so much, let me go here and do this, let me go there and do that. That's kind of more of a man thing. But women are more so like when you get them in a house and they want to, build up the house as opposed to just going a bunch of different places and doing different things. So all that said, when they aren't allowed to be in those relationships, so there just aren't the right type of situations for them to be in for relationships, it makes them get to a point where they have to do more on their own. And it's not just the feminine that they were already carrying, but let me pick up where somebody else could have picked up in the proper setting, in a more balanced setting, I should say. And that winds up being some of that masculine energy that they have to do to, survive outside a relationship.
And you're saying something that somebody made a comment that I don't want to address until I've heard from all you guys, but you're saying something that is a perfect segue to what I have to say in addition to the comment that was made. But Robert, can I hear from you on that?
Yeah, absolutely. I think that we have to look back. Thank you, Dave and Glenn, for talking about this. But I think we have to look back at how people were raised. If they were raised in, a single family home, the woman is telling, nothing against that. It's just that, mom is encouraging, the woman to be all she can be. She doesn't need a man. She can do her own thing. And so when we come together, that's where the struggle begins, because we are here to be the provider, protector, etc. But if we're not measuring up in those areas to the perfected way that the woman has been told, then it creates a problem. You follow me?
Yeah.
So that's where this all masculinity comes from. Because if we're doing our stuff, let me curse. If we're doing our stuff, it wouldn't be a struggle. Right.
That's why I abhor the real man talk.
Yeah.
You don't know what a real man is. You know what a man that affirms you looks like.
Yeah.
You know what that looks like. But you don't know what a real man is. You don't know what it takes. You don't know what it takes to be a bad man.
Yeah.
Much less
I hate that real man term.
Yeah, I don't. The minute you start talking real man stuff, I stop listening.
Yeah, because I'm like, but it's a real man. Because I'm a real man. I don't know if you can tell by this beard that I'm a man. I'm a real man.
And before we you guys know I got a bad ticker up here. Glenn, did you address this? Because I want to.
Yeah, Mike needs to address
it. Mike didn't. Okay, Mike, come on, talk to me, brother.
Yeah, I'll keep it brief so we can get to the next topic. But I see some of this just in my interaction with my wife is the out of necessity, not desire. I think there are areas, Robert, to your point, where I'm not measuring up. Like if I'm being perfectly honest, I'm a little bit of a workaholic, and I spend a lot of time, trying to get the finances and do all that work stuff. And then when I'm not working, like I'm doing the dad thing, coaching, spending time with those kids. And there's things like paying the bills, making sure that, nothing went past the due date or whatever. And, I dropped that ball, and, a couple of those notices came through, and Glenn, you can imagine, it's all notices are like, I am now in charge of our family finances. You know what I mean?
You have been relieved of your duties.
Yeah, yes. You've been replaced.
I have been replaced in that, I don't know if that's masculine or not, but like in some, in some like prior eras, like running the family money. So now I pretty much am just like, I put it into the pot. Like she has the control now, but that to me it's okay. That's just it's less about masculine, feminine. It's more about like how do we divide the work and get the job done.
Yeah, it's working together. That's not a bad example. I mean, there's some things that women can do and manage better than we can.
She's a better manager than you, and that's just about you guys understanding each other's strengths.
Yeah,
right.
It doesn't have anything to do with gender at all. It has to do with how much you respect her ability to do maybe your secret.
Now she bust in the door, threw the bill in your face, and been like, "You're not a real man. This is a rule, Michael. What the hell is this?"
That's kind of how it went down.
No, I should have done it. See,
why is this bill
take my food while you at it, and take my food while you at it.
Yeah,
but there is a security that comes with making sure that's all handled, right? I mean,
absolutely. But check this out. For me, the first thing, man, when I hear somebody say something like that, to me, it sounds like someone justifying their behavior because they don't want to be held accountable or they want to be perceived a certain way. And it's like, I want to exist in this space. How can I make me existing in this space okay and free from judgment? And so you frame it and package it that way. The other thing is one of our faithful viewers said that women basically get dinged for being financially independent because it seems like a masculine trait, and I vehemently disagree.
I do too.
I do too. I like that.
But women often, and I'm speaking from personal experience, women often don't know how to not weaponize that.
Oh,
and I'm just
shots fired.
I lose who I lose, Glenn. You know what I'm saying? But that's
the record show at 9:27.
They coming at you.
On the 15th,
man, I'm already alone, Rob. That doesn't threaten me. But the reality is that men from birth are groomed to be in that position.
Yep.
Women not so much. They're groomed to look for somebody to take that position and run it well.
But I've been criticized for my independence in past relationships. I've been criticized for my fierce independence, but my independence was based on my need to make sure that I was set to be in a relationship and in a marriage and all of those things. So I worked really, really hard to get myself to this point in my life where I am the best version of me I can be.
Yeah.
But if you caught me 3 or 4 years ago, you know, you might have thought, well, he's just a jerk because he thinks he can do everything by himself. He doesn't need anybody. And he really does need me. I don't know why he doesn't think he needs me.
Yeah.
That's probably what they said. But,
somebody took offense to my use of the word weaponized.
Yeah,
so
I saw that. I knew it.
Dig my heels in because that is something that people do when they are in a position to basically navigate a space that you're in need of. There's a way to weaponize that thing or not. And I'm not making that up. That's not theory. I've lived in a house where their financial space was being weaponized. Now, I'm not saying it's a universal affirmative, like every woman that walks the face of the earth or maybe makes more money than her husband or mate does that. But what I'm saying is that it's a real thing. And it takes a unique woman, I think, oftentimes to be sensitive to when you're doing it. And that's not to say that men need to be pampered or babied or anything like that. But you need to understand that you can weaponize anything. Anything can be weaponized. And so when you're in a position that is typically not the position that you ride in all the time, it's easier to weaponize it. And you might not think you're weaponized. But
well, you just said something in terms of being in a position that you're not used to riding in. So a lot of times we as the men are expected to be the protectors, as Mike, mentioned. We're the breadwinners. We do a number of different things. I ran organizations while I was, married before, and did pretty well. But that didn't mean anything. That still meant at the end of the day, I still couldn't communicate to them in the way that they wanted me to communicate. So I think that's that whole thing where people are looking for, opportunities to point out failures or faults is probably a bigger thing.
Yeah,
and we have to eliminate that.
Yeah, the problem is, man, that we haven't gotten past thinking that our mates are our adversaries.
Yeah.
And when things aren't ideal, I think that becomes exacerbated, and we really don't realize that no matter who's where, we're still on the same team, and we're supposed to function as if we're on the same team. And oftentimes, when somebody hits a pothole, the only place you can really run to is your mate. So if your mate doesn't have your back.
But that's assuming, Shawn, that you're assuming that we're all at the same level and we're used to that. Because, that whole, and this is what I said, from a ground up perspective, we have these conversations and we're thinking we're on the same team, and I'm skilled in this area, you're skilled in that area. But at the end of the day, there's stuff that happens, and this is where the masculinity comes in when we talked about with the relationships, because we've messed up. We didn't pay the bill on time. The lights got cut off the one time, and now they want to take over, for that. So it has to be let's talk about this. What roles are we playing? Who's on the field? How can we win this game together?
Dave, I love when your face is looking perplexed like that, because it's like, you're going to share something that's going to shut the whole show down. So
no pressure, right? No pressure at all. But no, I was just listening to what you all were talking about, and I feel like I definitely agree in terms of there's a certain set of activities where you just kind of agree on how things should work. So whether it's the money or whatever, but you have this stuff in the middle where you figure out who can do what. And as a team, we, attack it and everybody knows what they're doing. Separate from that, and I don't tie too much masculinity or femininity to that per se, but separate from that, there are certain things that I personally do to make sure that my wife, because I enjoy femininity, to make sure that she can remain as feminine as possible. So for example, like taking out the trash. I do my personal best to make sure that I always do it when it's needed, so she never has to. Just because I feel like that's one of those things that, you got to deal with something dirty. She got to go out to the alley, and open herself up to, security risks and kind of over talking it. But at the same time, that's something that I would prefer me do as a man. She could stay in the house and do more feminine types of things. I just feel like when I take those types of masculine things off the table, it allows for her to just remain in her feminine space, which is what I want. So I don't mind doing that extra work to make sure. And there are things that she could do vice versa.
And I 100% agree with you. That is how I grew up. My father did everything under the sun like that, to the point that my brother and I had to be standing in the garage when my mother got home from work. We had to be standing in the garage with the door open waiting for her, so that all she had to do was pull her car in and us close the door. And that is still the standard by which I envision relationships and the way they should be navigated. Now, what I find fascinating is that with all you just said, there are some women, just some women, that would have a problem with that, because they would feel like you're packaging them in a certain box, and they don't necessarily want that. They don't want to be catered to. They don't want to be fussed over in that, because you're treating them like a woman, which would be a problem. And I think that is what's become so strange about the world we live in. You know, all the stuff that we did or we were taught, some of that stuff is offensive. Now,
but no, I think that's a small subset of women. That's a small amen corner. It's the woman. It's the ones that are always cheering on the woman after a breakup when she goes off to Cabo and licks salt off of the chest or something like that. Gone, girl, live your life. Whereas the men do their work. I went to Vegas and had a girl dancing on the table at the bank in the Palazzo. I don't know that for sure. I heard that they do that. I'm not an expert on that. Then I would be a jerk. So it's a small subset of women. There were women that got mad at Cater to You by Destiny's Child. Like, it's like 9 years old.
That's what I mean.
Those are women that haven't had a relationship since Beyonce was in Destiny's Child, though. So you got to put them where they are and understand what their anger is. It's like you got to place them there. All right.
I had a high school friend, man, who was a lady, and she would drive to Indiana at 11 at night to get gas. And she was a married lady, and that would just blow my mind. I was like, there's no way in the world I could, with a clear conscience, let my wife drive to Indiana at 11 at night for gas. Like, if my wife's car needs gas, then I go put gas in it. I go put gas in it. 12 noon. It doesn't have to be 11 at night, but I would never, like Dave mentioned, the safety component, I would never have my wife driving to get gas at
night,
11 o'clock at night.
At night, yeah. I think I'm thinking what you said with Cabo, you know, Glenn. I mean, if women want to do those things in Cabo, I mean, I'm thinking back to when I was just in Cabo. Maybe that's kind of, you know, I don't know, but I think there's some things that we do, Shawn, as you mentioned. We do it, you know. For me, I did those things. You know, I made sure that the maintenance on her car was up to speed. You know, gas, all of that kind of stuff. It's what is it? Available for salt licks. Okay. So anyway, Roger threw me off with that, but yeah. But I
that is not for our male viewership. Let's be clear. Right. Well, it could be, no judgment, but I think in general, it's, you know.
Yeah. So I'm thrown off on that, but I think that we as men, we want to provide. I mean, I grew up in a family like you did, Shawn, that talked about the things that my dad did for my mother. I emulate all those things today when I date women, you know, the protection, opening the doors, going out first, taking a bullet for her, all of those kind of things.
Well, let's hope
not the bullet, Robert. I like the chivalry part, though. I mean, that's good.
I mean, but man,
I'll open the door for you.
We're in Chicago now, so sometimes we might have to take a bullet. I'm just saying, you know, we
hey, my niece would tell me that she would take a bullet for me, but it'd have to be like in the foot or something. It couldn't be, you know. Anyway, it couldn't be anywhere vital.
It couldn't be in the extremities. Just the.
And Rob, to your point, let me just say also that while my father was the kind to have his sons wait for their mom in the garage, he was also the kind of guy who brought his check home and gave it to her.
Right. Yeah, that's my dad.
He would stop. He would cash his check. He would take enough out to buy him a 750 milliliter bottle of Canadian Club.
Yeah.
And he would give everything else to my mother.
Mine was RC. My dad.
Yeah, he never bought his own clothes, any of that. My mother managed 100% of the finances because he respected her ability to do so. And so you can have the duality. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Like there's magic in duality and knowing, who does what better and being okay with that. So. Yeah. All right, man. Let's talk about something a little less stressful.
Okay.
I don't want Dave and Mike.
What could that be?
Listening at the door, and then they got a long night, and I'm in the bed with my bird, and Mike and Dave no sleep tonight, and they wife heard me talking most, so it's my fault, And damn Shawn gonna get you, Already got.
I think I'm okay, Shawn. I think I'm okay.
What'd you say, Mike?
I said, I think I'm all right.
Okay, I hope so.
He's in his man cave right now. She can't hear him, Shawn. It's all good.
Yeah, he all the way in the basement in a soundproof room.
I kind of am. Yeah.
Hey man, I haven't watched much of the finals, man. I know that Giannou got hurt, but it seemed like it was temporary, right?
Yeah, he's played every game, so he's not too hurt the way he's been balling.
Yeah, we're at what? This the first game of the finals last night, or what was it?
No, it's 2-2. It's 2-2.
Really?
So then 5.
You really haven't been watching this, Shawn.
Yeah, I'm a football dude, man. I'm a football and combat sports dude. So,
who's your football team?
What?
Oh God! Don't say the Bears, please.
Dude, I'm not fair weather. I rock with the Bears whether they're winning or they're losing. If you can't rock with them when they're losing, then you're fair weather.
I'm a Steeler fan. I've always been a Steeler fan since I was 9 years old.
Yeah, you would be a Steeler fan, Steeler. But I'm excited about Justin. I mean, who can't be excited about Justin Fields coming?
You're a Bears fan, Barely, barely a team, Bears. And Mike's a Viking fan. He's in Minnesota. He's all Vikings.
So, if I could, just a brief aside.
I know what this is.
I'm a diehard Vikings fan. It's hard because there's not a lot of reward for all of that. I've been a season ticket holder since '98. Moss was a rookie.
Hey, man.
And I envision bringing these boys to U.S. Bank Stadium and having them wearing purple. And these kids both have number 12 Aaron Rodgers jerseys.
This is Mike's failure as a father. He raised
absolute biggest failure as a father. I've got 2 Packer fan kids
in your conference. That's so disrespectful. That they're in your conference. That's
I put the credit card down with the 2 Aaron Rodgers jerseys, and to the poor kid at the store, I was like, "This is what failure as a father looks like."
I told my nephew, Tristan, I was like, once you get 18, you can come stay with Uncle Glenn because your dad's gonna kick you out of the house. Just letting you know, this whole Packer thing is not gonna end well for you. Come stay. You got a place to stay.
Hey man, I say this though, man. We always have, particularly the Packers, but we hate people that beat our ass, man. We hate winners. That's just the truth of it.
Y'all hate everybody. The Bears hate
somebody that you hate everyone. You know what I'm saying? Like I heard an R&B singer whose name will go unmentioned say, "Elephants don't swat flies." So you're not concerned with people that aren't beating you. The people you have a problem with are the people that are kicking your ass. Right. And Aaron Rodgers is one of the best to ever do it. So people hate him because they lose to him. And so because of that, I'm a Bear fan, but I don't have a problem with the Packers. You know what I'm saying? Beat him.
Respect. You got to beat him. If you want it, you got to beat that guy.
The same way I felt about Floyd. I'm a big Floyd Mayweather fan. Everybody hates Floyd. Beat him. You can shut him up if you beat him.
Right.
You can't beat him, though. So, that's everybody hates Brady because he.
I don't want to talk about Brady.
That blood.
I don't want to talk about Brady as a Steeler fan. I don't want to talk about Brady.
You know what I mean?
Super Bowls that we could have been in and it not been for Brady.
Because he's responsible for a whole bunch of sleepless nights in your life. That's why.
We're having a trigger moment right now, Glenn.
Right. And I don't even like Brady, but he wins, man. He wins. So,
I can tell y'all one thing. I will not be picking you off for my basketball pickup team. We got on NBA Finals 2 seconds before y'all shift.
No,
Every other sport. When talking about rugby, everything else in the world.
Right.
That was Shawn. That was Shawn.
no.
The finals are great. Last night was a great game.
It actually has been a great series so far.
It has been, other than the refs being a little blind last night.
Yeah, tied 2-2. Both teams have won all their games at their home bases, so it'll be interesting to see who can, change that up. But I actually think the conference finals are going to go through the hands of Chris Paul. So I think just for the way their team plays, as long as he's healthy and in the lineup, it's going to run through him. So if he does well, Phoenix will win, and if he doesn't, they probably won't.
No, you're right. Whoever wins this year is a transition champion because the Lakers will be back next year. That's what's going to really happen. I mean, we all know this.
Anyway,
we had to have that Laker conversation.
Yeah,
I had to get my team off in there. You're lucky I don't have the jersey.
So you think LeBron is building up his momentum with Space Jam and the Looney Tunes, and then he's going to just take off, and he's going to be on a hot streak after he beats the Tasmanian Devil?
Look, I don't care if we need to sign Daffy Duck to a 10-day contract. We're going to get whoever we need to bring a championship to the team. Hey, you want to know a joke? You want to hear a joke?
Yeah.
I bet you Michael Jordan is somewhere sitting up saying, my Space Jam team was better than LeBron's and we could have beat them. I scored more points in the movie than he did.
Wait a minute. Y'all gotta let me get this right. Somebody said, somebody said that they asked Michael Jordan if the 96 Bulls could beat who just won the last championship. That was LeBron, right?
Yeah, LeBron.
Right. Could beat LeBron's Lakers.
Mm-hmm.
And he said, yeah, probably, about 3 to 5 points. And the person said, well, why is the margin so close? He said, well, we all in our 50s now.
Oh, wow. Really? He still thinks he could take LeBron today. If you ask Jordan,
today, right?
Yeah, he thinks he can beat him today.
That's the heart of a champion.
Yeah.
There's no fool like an old fool. Depending on how you.
Hey, did anybody either see or hear the Richard Sherman thing, man?
This morning,
I saw a little
bit about it, but I don't know what the situation was. Everybody's all over the 911 operator because she was basically fighting with, I don't know if his wife or whoever called the police on him. She was like,
did she know who he was or what?
No, I don't think she knew who he was. I think just the 911 operator just hadn't been trained right. It was really not professional at all.
Because I haven't heard much about it. I heard he was about to kick her dad's door down.
Really?
Or something. Yeah, it was real. That's the thing, man. I always wonder, man, emotionally, what some of these sports, man, that are violent in nature. You kind of wonder about the person's ability to turn that on, turn that off. That's always my concern. I remember years ago, man, when he had a great game against Michael Crabtree. They had hyped it up so much, that they were going to be facing off. And in a sportsman-like, moment, he kind of ran up behind Crabtree, and like told him good game. And Crabtree said something real foul to him. And then right after that, the reporter, put a mic in his face. And I understood what he was saying because he was out of control when she put the mic in. But later he explained, to play at this level, you really have to hype yourself up, and she put that mic in my face when I was still on 95, right, game mode. And so she just got some energy, that she wouldn't have gotten at a different time. My adrenaline was still pumping, and and so I always worry, man, and wonder about those guys and their ability to manage what it takes to do what they do, so that it doesn't trickle over into their personal lives, man, and their relationships, man. I would imagine it's not an easy thing, man.
No, to me, Shawn, they're like modern day gladiators, right? Yes. You're to go out, you're risking your life, your limb, you're in all of that, and then you're supposed to turn it off. And I'm sure. And the incident that they reported on the news last night was so spotty that I personally have a filter of like, I'm going to wait a few days before I really want to give it some thought, or because more will come in, right? And you'll start to get the whole picture. It's usually not what spills out in the middle of the night on CNN.
Yeah, and that's why, man, I try not to, even with some of the most famous things we've seen in the media, man, I try to always remember that I've seen stuff look like it looked like, and it not been that.
Not right. Exactly.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's why I don't care if it's OJ, whatever, you know, unless I was across the street in a van watching, I don't know what happened.
Yeah.
You can gather all the evidence that you have access to and make what decision that, you know, you feel the need to make and be at peace with that. But if I didn't see it happen, I always feel like there's always the possibility of
there's always two sides. There's always two sides to every story, right?
Yeah, and there's so much with the whole fake 911 calls and stuff like that that have come out now that we have video until you don't know, you know, what things look like anymore.
Hey man, we got about 2 minutes.
And we could do the same thing with videos that we take. You know, they could be, you know, we can do some screenshots and some other stuff, photo shoot or Photoshop, you know, in terms of stuff that we see. You know, you see me I'm out by myself. They can Photoshop a woman in to the picture.
And what woman might that be, Robert? Who would they Photoshop beside you, Robert?
Women love you so much, you don't have to do that. They would have to do that with me, maybe. They don't have to do that. Hey, we only got about 2 minutes left, man, and I have seen the rumblings that somebody's having a birthday, and I need to sing happy birthday to them. I was not prepared to do that. I'm drinking and everything else, but so I always say, if you drop it on me and I'm not prepared, if it goes bad, don't blame me. Blame it on yourself.
Blame it on the liquor.
This is for our beloved producer, the woman that stands behind the man. If you look on some of the pictures that we posted recently from our professional shoot, she's discreetly posted in the back. But our own beloved Keisha Rose, who does so much to keep this show afloat and to keep it going. And we respect her effort and everything that she does. She goes to bat for us as men better than we go to bat for ourselves. And there are times when, to be honest with you, women are coming at us and not giving us a fair shake. And she is relentless in her defense of us and our ability to express ourselves and be our true selves and not be judged for it. So real quick, this is for her, and then we can get out of here. Mike and Dave, Dave, you know Mike, hang out, meet us in the green room. Don't cut out when we're done. Keisha Rose, happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Keisha. Happy birthday to you. On behalf of the fellas, we love you madly. You all, thanks for checking with us. We'll see you next week. Thursdays, our new nights are going real well. We owe all of that to you. We'll see you next week. Big ups to Mike Olson, our new brother, Dave Roberson, our consistent brother. And we'll see y'all next Thursday at 9. We love you. Peace out.
Peace.
Well done, Shawn.
Thank you, brother.
Yeah.
Camped out at home for COVID? Join us, Indie TV, where you will see the talk shows, movies, drama, action, and comedy. Be the first and see it first. Sign up now for free at Indie TV.